The stars were quiet around the Velrani research ship Zephyra as it moved through empty space. Commander Kexathala sat in his command chair, his long ears twitching at every small sound. His people were always nervous in the deep dark between worlds. It was how they stayed alive. "Commander, I'm getting strange readings," said Navigator Zilnara from her station. Her voice was soft, like all Velrani voices. They never spoke loudly unless something was very wrong. "There's a ship coming toward us, moving very fast." Kexthala's ears stood straight up. Fast ships usually meant trouble. Pirates or worse things that hunted in the empty spaces between stars. "How fast?" "Faster than anything I've seen before. It's not using any drive system in our databases." Zilnara's hands moved quickly over her controls. "Commander, it's heading straight for us." The bridge went very quiet. All 12 Velrani crew members stopped what they were doing. Their large eyes grew wider as they stared at the main screen. A dot of light was growing bigger every second. Science Officer Velkara spoke up from her post. "I'm scanning the ship now. It's made of metals I don't recognize. The energy signatures are completely different from ours." "Different how?" Kexthala asked. His voice stayed calm, but his claws gripped the arms of his chair. "Everything about it screams Predator, Commander. The hull is thick and heavy. There are weapon mounts all over it. Even their engines burn hotter and faster than anything we've built." The unknown ship was close enough now to see clearly on the screen. It was angular and sharp, painted in dark colors. Nothing like the smooth, curved ships the Velrani built for peaceful research. This ship looked like it was made for hunting. "Incoming. Transmission," announced Communications Officer Hexanala. "They're using a standard greeting protocol, but the language is unknown." "Put it through," Kexathala ordered. The screen flickered and showed the inside of the alien ship. A creature sat in what looked like a command chair. It was bipedal like the Velrani, but much larger and broader. Its skin was pale pink, and it had short fur only on the top of its head. But what made every Velrani on the bridge freeze in terror were its eyes. The eyes faced forward. Both of them looked straight ahead like a hunter's eyes. Every predator in the galaxy had forward-facing eyes for tracking prey. The Velrani, like most civilized species, had eyes on the sides of their heads to watch for danger from all directions. "Greetings," the alien said. Its voice was deep and strong, the voice of something that had never known fear. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human exploration ship Aurora. We come in peace and friendship." The words were translated by the ship's computer, but the meaning felt wrong to Kexathala. Predators didn't explore. They hunted. They didn't offer friendship. They offered death. Captain Morrison continued speaking. "We've never encountered your species before. We'd like to establish diplomatic relations and learn about your culture." Behind Morrison, other humans moved around the bridge. They were all large and confident, walking with the easy stride of apex predators. One of them, a female with short yellow fur on her head, stepped forward. "I'm Chief Science Officer Lisa Martinez," she said, raising one hand in what the computer translated as a greeting gesture. But to Velrani eyes, it looked like she was reaching out to grab something. To grab them. "They want to establish relations," whispered Velkara. "That's what hunters say before they strike." Kexathala's mind raced. His people had evolved on a world full of predators. Every instinct screamed at him to run. These humans were clearly the most dangerous predators his species had ever encountered. They had conquered space itself, built ships that could cross the galaxy in days instead of months. And now they were hunting for new prey. "Commander," Zilnara said urgently, "they're moving closer, much closer." On the screen, Captain Morrison was still talking about peace and friendship, but his ship was approaching fast. The Aurora was 3 times the size of the Zephyra and looked like it could tear the research vessel apart without slowing down. "Helm, evasive maneuvers," Kexthala ordered quietly. "Maximum speed." "But Commander," Hexnala protested, "they said they come in peace." "Look at them," Kexthala snapped, his calm finally breaking. Forward-facing eyes, heavy muscles, aggressive posture. They're apex predators. They've crossed the galaxy to hunt us, and we're not going to make it easy for them. The Zephyra suddenly lurched as its engines fired at full power. The research ship wasn't built for running, but it could move fast when needed. On the main screen, they could see the Aurora growing smaller as they pulled away. But not fast enough. "They're following us," Zilnara reported, her voice shaking. "They're matching our course and speed easily." Back on the Aurora's bridge, Captain Morrison looked confused. "Why are they running from us? We clearly stated our peaceful intentions." "Maybe they didn't understand the translation," suggested Lieutenant Ben Walsh, the tactical officer. "Their behavior seems fear-based." "Then we need to catch up and explain properly," Morrison decided. "Helm, stay with them. Communications, keep broadcasting our peaceful intentions on all frequencies." To the humans, this was a simple first contact situation gone slightly wrong. To the Velrani, it was the beginning of the most terrifying chase in their species' history. The Aurora easily matched the Zephyra's desperate speed. The human ship had been built for long-range exploration, with engines that could cross between star systems without strain. What seemed like an easy pursuit to the humans felt like certain death to their prey. "They're staying right behind us," Velkara reported. "Commander, they're not even trying hard. It's like they're playing with us." Kexathala knew what he had to do. "Send a distress signal to Confederation Command. Tell them we've encountered a new predator species. Aggressive, technologically advanced, and persistent. They need to warn all ships in this sector." "Broadcasting now," Hexnala confirmed. The chase was just beginning, but Kexthala already knew how it would end. Predators were patient. They would follow their prey across the galaxy if necessary. The only question was whether the Confederation could organize a rescue before the humans finally decided to strike. Behind them, the Aurora continued its steady pursuit, its crew still believing they were simply trying to establish diplomatic contact with a shy new species. They had no idea. They had just become the most feared predators in galactic history. The chase had been going on for 6 hours now. The Velrani research ship, Zephyra, pushed its engines harder than they were ever meant to go, but the human ship Aurora stayed right behind them like a patient hunter. "Engine temperature is getting too high," reported Chief Engineer Nix Vara from the engine room. "We can't keep this speed much longer without risking a complete breakdown." Commander Kexathala watched the human ship on his screen. It wasn't even trying hard. The Aurora could clearly go much faster, but it was holding back, playing with them. "How much longer can we run?" "Maybe 2 hours at this speed. After that, we'll have to slow down or the engines will explode." Behind them, Captain Morrison was having his own problems. His crew was getting tired from the long chase, and he still didn't understand why the aliens were running. "Captain," said Communications Officer Kate Phillips, "I've been broadcasting friendship messages for hours. They're not responding to any of our signals." "Keep trying," Morrison ordered. "Maybe their translation systems are having trouble with our language." Engineering Chief Danny Cooper looked up from his controls. "Sir, our engines are running fine, but I'm worried about the other ship. Their energy output is fluctuating. They might be pushing their systems too hard." Lieutenant Ben Walsh, the tactical officer, studied his screens. "Captain, I think they're afraid of us. Their flight pattern shows classic fear behavior." "Afraid? Of us?" Morrison seemed genuinely surprised. "We've done nothing threatening. We just want to talk." "Maybe our ship looks scary to them," suggested Navigator Ryan Clark. "Some species might see our military design as aggressive." Morrison nodded slowly. "You might be right. Lower our weapons to standby position. Dim our running lights. Maybe that will help them feel safer." Dr. Amy Foster, who had been quiet until now, spoke up from her medical station. "Captain, I've been monitoring our crew. The stress of this chase is affecting everyone. We need to resolve this situation soon." "I agree," Morrison said. "But I won't give up on making contact. They might have important information about this region of space. What the humans didn't know was that their distress signal had been received. All across the Galactic Confederation, ships were moving to help the fleeing Velrani. The first to arrive was a Chronari battlecruiser commanded by Captain Thexmore, the D. Chronari were warriors, but even they were prey species at heart. They had evolved from herd animals that fought together against predators. When Thexmore saw the Aurora chasing the Zephyra, he knew exactly what was happening. Battle stations. Thexmore ordered his crew. "We have a predator species hunting one of our allies, all weapons ready." The Chronari ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly between the Aurora and the Zephyra. It was a big ship, covered in heavy armor and bristling with weapons. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Thexmore of the Chronari Defense Force. Stop your pursuit immediately or we will open fire." On the Aurora's bridge, Morrison stared at the new ship in surprise. "Another contact. This one definitely looks military. They're threatening us," Walsh reported. "All their weapons are aimed at us." Morrison sighed. "Open a channel. Let me talk to them." The screen showed Captain Thexmore. He was a large creature covered in thick fur, with small eyes and a flat face. He looked angry and ready to fight. "I am Captain Morrison of the human ship Aurora. We are not attacking anyone. We're simply trying to establish contact with the research vessel." "Lies," Thexmore growled. "You have been chasing them for hours. You are clearly hunting them." "Hunting? No, you don't understand. We just want to talk. All predators say that before they strike. You will stop this pursuit now." Morrison was getting frustrated. "We're not predators. We're explorers. We come in peace." But Thexmore wasn't listening. To his eyes, the Aurora looked like the most dangerous hunting ship he had ever seen. Dark, angular, and fast. The humans inside looked like perfect killing machines with their forward-facing eyes and confident movements. "You have 10 seconds to change course," Thexmore warned. Morrison looked around his bridge. His crew was tense and ready for trouble. "Tactical, prepare defensive measures. I don't want to fight, but I won't let them attack us either." The standoff lasted only a few seconds. Then the Zephyra suddenly lurched sideways as one of its engines failed. The research ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel, emergency lights flashing. "They're in trouble," Dr. Foster said immediately. "Their engine just exploded. They need help." Without thinking, Morrison ordered, "Change course. Take us to the research ship. Prepare medical and engineering teams." The Aurora turned toward Diwaidawadi, the damaged Zephyra, but Captain Thexmore saw this as an attack run. "They're moving in for the kill," he shouted. "All weapons, fire!" The Chronari ship opened fire on the Aurora. Energy beams and missiles streaked across space. The human ship's shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the attack. "Return fire," Walsh said automatically, but Morrison held up his hand. "No, don't shoot back. They think we're attacking the research ship. We need to prove we're not." "But, Captain," Walsh protested, "they're trying to destroy us." "Hold your fire," Morrison ordered firmly. "Move us away from both ships. Show them we're not a threat." The Aurora backed away from both alien ships, even as the Chronari continued firing. Morrison opened a channel to both vessels. "Please stop shooting," he said calmly. "The research ship is damaged. We only want to help them. We have medical supplies and engineering expertise." On the Zephyra, Commander Kexathala watched in amazement. The human ship was backing away instead of attacking, but he didn't trust it. Predators were clever. They might be trying to confuse their prey. "The humans are retreating," reported Zilnara. "No," Kexthala said firmly. "They're planning something. Predators don't give up. They're just changing tactics." More ships were arriving now. Word of the human predators had spread across the Confederation. A synthoid logic ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel, followed by 3 more Velrani vessels and a massive hegemony transport. All of them saw the same thing. A dangerous predator species had appeared in their space and was hunting peaceful research ships. The Aurora was now surrounded by a dozen alien vessels, all pointing weapons at it. Captain Morrison stared at the screen in disbelief. "How did this happen?" "We just wanted to say hello." Dr. Foster checked her medical scanners. "The research ship is in serious trouble. Their life support is failing. They need help now." Morrison made a decision that would change everything. "Signal all ships. Tell them we're sending over medical aid whether they like it or not. We won't let people die because of a misunderstanding." The Aurora began moving toward the damaged Zephyra again. Every alien ship prepared to fire. The humans were about to do something that would either prove their peaceful intentions or start the first galactic war in 1,000 years. Behind them, space was filling with more and more ships as the news spread. The humans had no idea they were about to face half the galaxy in battle, all because they wanted to make friends. The news traveled faster than light across the galaxy. Emergency broadcasts carried the same terrifying message to every corner of Confederation space. Apex predators had found them. On the water world of Aquanus, the fish-like nautiloids stopped their peaceful swimming to listen in horror. Their leader, Elder Coralthes, spoke to the emergency council with trembling fins. "Predators with ships," she whispered. "They hunt in the void between stars. No one is safe." In the crystal cities of Gemenos, the rock-like crystallines vibrated with fear. Their harmonic songs, usually beautiful and calm, became sharp and discordant. The news spread through their living cities in waves of terror. "They have forward eyes," sang crystal singer Prism Heart. "They move like hunters. They chase for hours without stopping." The Aurora was still surrounded by alien ships, but Captain Morrison didn't know about the panic spreading across half the galaxy. He was focused on one thing: saving the crew of the damaged Velrani research ship. "Medical team, prepare for emergency transport," Morrison ordered. "Engineering team, get ready to help with their engine problems." Dr. Foster grabbed her medical kit. "Captain, they might not let us aboard. They seem terrified of us." "Then we'll help from here," Morrison said firmly. "No one dies on my watch." Because of fear and misunderstanding, the alien ships around them were getting nervous. More vessels arrived every few minutes. The space around the Aurora was becoming crowded with warships from a dozen different species. Admiral Vex Thol of the Confederation Defense Fleet had just arrived on his flagship, the Harmony. He was a tall, thin creature with gray skin and large, side-facing eyes. Like all his people, the Meridians, he had never seen a true predator species before. "Status report," Vex Thol demanded as soon as he reached his bridge. "The predator ship is attempting to approach the damaged research vessel," reported his tactical officer. "We believe they are preparing to finish their hunt." Vex Thol studied the Aurora on his main screen. Everything about the human ship looked wrong to his eyes. It was built for speed and power, not for the careful exploration his people preferred. The dark colors and sharp angles made it look like a weapon flying through space. "Open a channel to the predator vessel," he ordered. Morrison's face appeared on the Meridian flagship's screen. To Vex Thol, the human captain looked exactly like every nightmare his species had about the ancient predators that once hunted them on their home world. "I am Admiral Vex Thol, commander of the Confederation Defense Fleet. You will cease your hunting activities immediately." Morrison looked confused. "Hunting? Admiral, I think there's been a serious misunderstanding. We're not hunting anyone. We're trying to help." "Help?" Vex Thol's voice rose in disbelief. "You have chased a peaceful research vessel across 3 star systems. You ignore their distress calls. You refuse to stop when ordered. This is classic predator behavior." "No, you don't understand," Morrison tried to explain. "We were trying to make first contact. When they ran, we followed to continue negotiations. We've been broadcasting peaceful intentions the whole time." But Vex Thol wasn't listening to the words. He was watching Morrison's body language. The human sat straight and confident, never looking away from the screen. His eyes focused directly forward, tracking Vex Thol's movements like a hunter watching prey. "Your very existence proves you are predators," Vex Thol said. "Forward-facing eyes for tracking prey. Upright posture for chasing. Strong muscles for fighting. Your entire species is designed for hunting." On the Aurora's bridge, the humans were finally starting to understand what was happening. Xenobiologist Carl Jackson had been studying the behavioral patterns of all the alien species they had encountered. "Captain," Jackson said quietly, "I think I know what's wrong. Look at all their ship designs." Morrison glanced at the tactical display showing the alien vessels surrounding them. Jackson was right. Every single ship was built the same way. Smooth curves, lots of sensors, fast engines for running away. No heavy weapons, no armor, No sharp angles. They're all prey species, Jackson continued. Every single one of them. Look at their eyes, their body language, their ship designs. They evolved from animals that were hunted, not animals that hunted. The realization hit Morrison like a cold wave. And we look like predators to them. Exactly. Forward-facing eyes, confident posture, ships built for fighting. To them, we're the monsters from their worst nightmares. Security Chief Paul Harris spoke up from his station. Captain, more ships are arriving. I count over 50 vessels now, with more coming every minute. Communications Officer Kate Phillips was monitoring all the alien transmissions. Sir, they're coordinating their attack. They think we're about to kill the research crew. Morrison made a decision that surprised everyone. He stood up from his captain's chair and walked to the center of the bridge where all the alien cameras could see him clearly. This is Captain Jake Morrison speaking to all Confederation vessels, he said in a calm, clear voice. I know you think, we're predators. I know you're afraid of us, but you're wrong about our intentions. He gestured to his crew around the bridge. Look at us. Really look at us. Yes, we have forward-facing eyes. Yes, we're built for strength and speed. But do you know what we use these traits for? Morrison paused, making sure he had everyone's attention. We use them to explore, to discover new worlds and new friends. We use our strength to help people, not hurt them. We use our speed to reach those who need rescue. Dr. Foster stepped forward, holding her medical scanner. The Velrani research ship has 37 crew members. Aboard. 12 of them are injured from their engine explosion. Their life support will fail in less than 2 hours. We can save them, Morrison continued. We have the medical supplies and the technical knowledge to fix their ship, but we need you to let us help. Admiral Vex Thule was listening, but he still wasn't convinced. Why should we trust you? You are predators. Predators always lie to their prey. Morrison thought for a moment, then smiled sadly. Because if we wanted to hunt you, Admiral, we would have done it already. We've been surrounded by your ships for hours. If we were predators, wouldn't we have attacked by now? This made Vexthul pause. The human was right. If they were truly aggressive hunters, they would have struck when they had the advantage of surprise. Instead, they had allowed themselves to be surrounded and outnumbered. On the damaged Zephyra, Commander Kexathala was listening to the conversation. His engineer, Nix Vara, was reporting that their life support systems were failing faster than expected. Commander, we have maybe 1 hour left, Nix Vara said quietly. Our people are getting sick from the bad air. Kexthala looked at the aurora on his screen. The human ship was holding position, not attacking, not threatening, just waiting. Maybe, just maybe, the predators were telling the truth. Signal the human ship, Kexathala said finally. Tell them we'll allow one of their people to come aboard, but only one, and they must come unarmed. Morrison nodded immediately. Dr. Foster, prepare for transport. Take only medical supplies. Captain, Tactical Officer Ben Walsh warned. This could be a trap. Maybe, Morrison agreed. But people are dying and we're the only ones who can help them. Sometimes you have to take risks to do what's right. As Dr. Foster prepared to beam over to the alien ship, neither side knew they were about to make history. The first human was about to set foot on an alien vessel, and the galaxy was about to discover that sometimes the scariest-looking monsters were actually the best friends you could ever have. Dr. Amy Foster materialized on the bridge of the Velrani research ship in a shimmer of blue light. The moment she appeared, every alien on the bridge froze in terror. They had never seen a human up close before. Foster was a small woman by human standards, barely 5.5 feet tall with brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail. She carried only a medical bag and a friendly smile. But to the Velrani crew she looked like death itself. Her eyes faced forward like a hunter's. Her teeth were white and sharp. She moved with the confident stride of something that had never been prey. Even her smile looked dangerous to the frightened aliens. Hello, Foster said softly, trying to make her voice as gentle as possible. I'm Dr. Amy Foster. I'm here to help your injured crew members. Commander Kexthala stepped back instinctively. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but there was nowhere to go. The predator was already aboard his ship. You are smaller than I expected, Kexthala managed to say. Foster looked puzzled. Smaller? Oh, you mean compared to Captain Morrison? Yes, humans come in different sizes. I'm actually quite average for our species. This information terrified the Velrani even more. If this small, delicate-looking creature was average, how dangerous were the big ones? Where are your injured? Foster asked, opening her medical bag. I have supplies that can help. Navigator Zilnara pointed with a shaking hand toward the back of the bridge. Engineering section. 12 of our people were hurt when the engine exploded. Foster nodded and started walking toward the engineering area. The Velrani crew pressed themselves against the walls as she passed, trying to stay as far away as possible. They expected her to move like a stalking predator, but instead she walked normally, even carefully, as if she was trying not to scare them. In the engineering section, Foster found the injured Velrani lying on makeshift beds. They were all conscious, but clearly in pain. Their large eyes widened in fear when they saw her approach. It's okay, Foster said gently, kneeling beside the first injured alien. I'm a doctor. I want to help you feel better. She pulled out her medical scanner and began examining the nearest Velrani. The device beeped and hummed as it analyzed the alien's condition. The other crew members watched in fascination despite their fear. You have internal bleeding, Foster explained to her patient. But I can fix that. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small device. This will stop the bleeding and help your body heal faster. The injured Velrani looked at Commander Kexthala, who had followed Foster into engineering. The commander nodded slowly. They had no choice but to trust the human doctor. Foster activated the medical device and placed it against the alien's side. There was a soft humming sound, and immediately the Velrani's breathing became easier. How do you feel? Foster asked. Better, the alien whispered in amazement. The pain is going away. Foster smiled and moved to the next patient. As she worked, something strange happened. The Velrani crew began to relax. They watched her gentle movements, her careful attention to each patient, her obvious concern for their welfare. This was not how a predator behaved. Predators took life. They didn't save it. Meanwhile, outside the ship, the standoff continued. More alien vessels had arrived until there were nearly 100 ships surrounding the Aurora. The space around them looked like the biggest fleet gathering. In Confederation history, Admiral Vexthal was receiving reports from ships across the galaxy. The panic was spreading faster than anyone could control. Sir, his communications officer reported, we're getting word from the core worlds. 3 entire star systems have begun evacuation procedures. They think the predators are coming for them next. Vexthul stared at the Aurora on his main screen. One human ship had caused more fear than any enemy in Confederation history, and they claimed to be peaceful. On the Aurora's bridge, Captain Morrison was watching the situation grow, worse by the minute. How many ships are out there now? He asked. 137, reported Tactical Officer Ben Walsh, with more arriving every few minutes. Captain, if they all attack at once. They won't, Morrison said firmly. They're afraid, not angry. There's a difference. Navigator Ryan Clark looked up from his station. Captain, I'm getting strange readings from the edge of the system. Something big is coming. The massive shape that dropped out of faster-than-light travel was larger than any ship they had seen before. It was the Confluence, the Galactic Confederation's mobile capital, and home to representatives from every member species. On board the Confluence, Grand Admiral Zek Thanor was preparing for what he believed would be the most important battle in galactic history. The ancient Thraxian had lived for over 300 years and had never seen a crisis like this. All ships prepare for coordinated attack, he broadcast to the assembled fleet. We will give the predators one final chance to surrender before we destroy them. But just as the fleet prepared to attack, Dr. Foster's voice came over the communication channels from inside the Velrani ship. Captain Morrison, the injured crew members are stable now. I've treated all 12 patients. They're going to be fine. The transmission was heard by every ship in the fleet. The aliens listened in amazement as the human doctor gave her medical report. I've also identified the problem with their engine, Foster continued. It's a simple repair, but they don't have the right tools. We could fix it in about an hour if they'll let us. Commander Kexthala appeared on the communication screen next to Dr. Foster. For the first time since the chase began, he didn't look terrified. This human, he said slowly. She saved my crew. She healed our injured. She asks for nothing in return. The fleet fell silent. Every ship's crew was listening to the Velrani commander's words. I have been wrong, Kexthala continued. We have all been wrong. These humans are not predators. They are something else. Something we have never seen before. Grand Admiral Zekthanor opened a direct channel to the Aurora. Human, Captain, I am Grand Admiral Zekthanor. Explain yourself. Morrison looked directly into the camera, his forward-facing eyes meeting those of the ancient alien admiral. We are explorers, Admiral. We travel the galaxy looking for new friends and new knowledge. We saw your research ship and wanted to say hello. When they ran, we followed because we wanted to understand why they were afraid. And now? Zekthanor asked. Morrison gestured toward the Velrani ship where Dr. Foster was still working. Now we know. You see us as predators because that's what we look like to you. But we're not. We're protectors. We use our strength to help others, not hurt them. Prove it, Zekthanor challenged. Morrison smiled, and for the first time his predator's grin didn't look threatening. It looked warm and friendly. I already have, he said simply. Dr. Foster just saved 12 lives. Our engineering team is ready to fix their ship. We've been surrounded by over 100 warships for hours, and we haven't fired a single shot. If we were predators, wouldn't we have attacked by now? The question hung in space like a challenge. 100 alien captains looked at their weapon displays, all aimed at the single human ship. The Aurora had been completely surrounded, outgunned by thousands to one. And yet the humans had never even raised their shields. Slowly, Grand Admiral Zekthanor began to understand. These weren't predators at all. They were something much more rare and valuable. They were guardians. Stand down. All weapons, he ordered the fleet. I think we need to have a very different conversation with our new neighbors. 3 weeks had passed since the great misunderstanding at the edge of Confederation space. The Aurora now sat docked at the Confluence, the massive capital ship of the Galactic Confederation. What had started as a chase had become the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history. Captain Morrison walked through the corridors of the alien ship with careful, slow steps. He had learned that quick movement scared his new friends. Behind him followed Ambassador Lucy Ward, who had arrived on a fast ship from Earth to handle the delicate negotiations. Remember, Ward whispered to Morrison as they approached the main conference hall. Speak softly, move slowly, and try not to smile with your teeth showing. They still find that intimidating. Morrison nodded. The past 3 weeks had been a learning experience for everyone. The humans had discovered they were the first predator species to achieve space travel in this part of the galaxy. The aliens had learned that predators could be friends instead of enemies. The conference hall was enormous, designed to hold representatives from dozens of different species. As Morrison and Ward entered, they saw delegates from across the Confederation. The fish-like nautiloids floated in water-filled tanks. The crystalline sang soft harmonic notes. The furry Velrani sat in small groups, their large ears constantly moving to listen for danger. At the center of the hall sat Commander Kexthala. He looked much different now than during their first meeting. His fear had been replaced by curiosity, though he still jumped slightly when humans moved too quickly. Captain Morrison, Kexthala called out, his voice warm and friendly. Please sit with us. Morrison took his seat carefully, making sure not to tower over the smaller alien. How are your crew members doing, Commander? All fully healed thanks to Dr. Foster, Kexthala replied. She has been teaching our medical staff new techniques. Your people are remarkable teachers. Grand Admiral Zekthanor stood at the front of the hall. The ancient Theraxian looked tired but pleased. We are here today to establish formal relations, between humanity and the Galactic Confederation. But first, I think we need to understand what went wrong during first contact. Dr. Foster, who had become something of a celebrity among the aliens, stood up. If I may, Admiral, I think the problem was that we see the universe differently. We humans evolved as hunters, but we hunt knowledge and friendship, not prey. You evolved as the hunted, so you learned to be careful and gentle. Xenobiologist Carl Jackson added, both approaches have their strengths. Your species developed amazing cooperative technologies and peaceful societies. We developed persistence and problem-solving skills. Together, we could accomplish incredible things. A delegate from the rock-like crystallines sang a question in their musical language. The translator turned it into words. They ask how we can trust beings who look like our ancient nightmares. Morrison stood up slowly. Because, he said gently, we choose to be protectors instead of predators. Every day, every human makes that choice. We could use our strength to take things, but we choose to use it to help instead. Elder Coralthus of the Nautiloids spoke from her water tank. But how do we know you will always make that choice? What happens when your people become hungry or desperate? Ambassador Ward smiled carefully, remembering not to show too many teeth. That's actually when humans are at their best. When there's a crisis, we don't fight each other. We work together. We protect the weak and help those in need. Show them. The report from the rescue mission, suggested Security Chief Paul Harris, who had been invited to the conference. Morrison nodded and activated a holographic display. It showed images from last week's emergency on the mining station Kepler-7. An asteroid had hit the station, trapping hundreds of alien workers inside. When we heard about the emergency, Morrison explained, every human ship in the area immediately changed course to help. We didn't ask what species were trapped. We didn't ask for payment. We just went to help. The hologram showed human rescue, teams working alongside alien crews. Dr. Foster could be seen treating injured miners while Engineering Chief Danny Cooper helped repair damaged life support systems. 1,200 people were saved that day, Morrison continued. Humans and aliens working together. That's who we really are. Navigator Zil Nara, who had been quiet throughout the meeting, finally spoke up. Captain Morrison, may I ask you something personal? Of course. When we ran from you that first day, why did you follow us? Really, why? Morrison thought for a moment before answering. Because you were the first new friends we had met in a very long time. We were excited to learn about you, to share stories and knowledge. When you ran, we thought maybe you didn't understand that we were friendly. So we followed to try again. But why didn't you give up when we kept running? Morrison smiled, this time remembering to keep his lips closed. Because that's what humans do. We don't give up on our friends. Once we decide we like someone, we keep trying to show them we care. Sometimes that means being patient for a very long time. Grand Admiral Zekthanor stood up again. I believe we have heard enough to make our decision. The Galactic Confederation officially welcomes humanity as our newest member species. The hall erupted in celebration. The crystallines sang beautiful harmony songs. The Nautiloids created swirling water displays. The Velrani clapped their hands in excitement, but Morrison raised his hand for quiet. Admiral, before we accept, I need to ask something important. What happens if other predator species show up someday? Real predators who want to hurt people? Zekthanor looked at Morrison with respect. Then we will call on our human friends to help protect us. That is what Guardians do, is it not? Morrison nodded. Yes, sir. That's exactly what Guardians do. Commander Kexathala stood up and walked over to Morrison. The small Velrani reached up and gently touched the human captain's hand. It was the first time in galactic history that a prey species had voluntarily touched a predator species. Thank you, Kexathala said simply, for teaching us that the scariest-looking people can have the kindest hearts. 6 months later, Captain Morrison sat in his ready room aboard the Aurora, now designated as the first ship of the joint Human Confederation Exploration Fleet. Through his window, he could see the construction of the new Earth Embassy on the confluence. His door chimed and Commander Kexathala entered. The Velrani had requested transfer to the Aurora and now served as Morrison's alien cultural advisor. "Captain," Kexathala said, settling into his specially designed chair. "We have a new situation. Long-range sensors have detected another unknown ship approaching Confederation space." Morrison looked up with interest. "Another first contact?" "It appears so." "But Captain, this ship is running from something. Something is chasing them." Morrison stood up and straightened his uniform. "Well then, I guess we better go help them. That's what we do now." As the Aurora prepared to leave for its new mission, Morrison reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy had learned that predators could be protectors. Humans had learned to be gentle with their strength. And somewhere in space, another frightened species was about to discover that the scariest-looking ship coming toward them might just be carrying their new best friends. The chase was over. The friendship had just begun.